A man turns an old plane into a house. Watch when he opens the door and reveals the interior. If you found a plane in the middle of the woods, what would you think happened? Was it a mysterious accident? Or an old plane cemetery? This one was found in Hillsboro, Oregon by Bruce Campbell, a retired electrical engineer and a very inventive man. Bruce likes to transform planes destined for scrap metal into ornate works of architecture. He thinks that the planes have a lot of potential outside of their intended use. Using a large dose of imagination, an old plane and a large piece of land on which to build the most unique house in the world. Keep reading to see how he constructed his bizarre house and take a look inside. Bruce Campbell, 64-year-old retired engineer, always had a creative vision. When he was about 20 years old, he bought a 4-hectare piece of land in the forest of Hillsboro, Oregon, for €20,000, with a very clear vision in his head. From a young age, Campbell liked to tinker with old objects and materials to create entirely new things. His plan for the piece of land was to construct a house from a number of cargo vans. It seemed like a wonderful and innovative plan, but it was before he heard talk of a house built by someone else. About 2 decades before, Bruce Campbell heard about Joanne Ussery, a hairdresser from Mississippi who bought a Boeing 727 and transformed it into her house. Her old home had burned down, and she decided to construct a functional house plane at the edge of a peaceful lake. He had the idea before about the vans, but Campbell found an enormous airplane that seemed much more innovative and interesting to use. In 1999, Campbell decided to buy an Olympic Airways Boeing 727 that was sitting in the Athens airport, for the reasonable price of €85,000. Once the plane was purchased, he had to transport it to the forest in Oregon. The transport of the plane from Athens, Greece to Oregon proved to be the most difficult task of the entire adventure. The planning and execution of the move, as well as many other aspects of the project, cost him over €105,000. The industrious Bruce Campbell was impatient to start working on his new project, but he first had to bring the enormous plane to the woods in Oregon. Campbell thought that his project would only be a work in progress forever, but he finally transformed it into something incredible and important after several years of hard work and innovation. In the beginning, Bruce Campbell thought of the plane as an amusing project without a particular purpose. The only thing he knew for sure was that he wanted to recycle the plane. He strongly believed that the airliners could be transformed into incredible houses instead of being scrapped without thinking. For many years, Campbell worked on the fuselage while he lived in the vans installed nearby. It wasn't easy for him to live in the forest, but he had a goal and he wasn't going to give up on it. The van was always infested with mice, and Campbell was forced to live in the airplane without a building permit. It was at this moment that he started really understanding the space, a place that we can't imagine having been once a functional aircraft. Describing his vision to the Mirror, Campbell declared that ripping apart a beautiful, gleaming airliner is a tragedy and a waste, and a profound failure of the human imagination. Before Bruce Campbell was ready to show his masterpiece to the whole world, he had to wash the outside of the fuselage with the help of a pressure washer. To wash his beloved house could even be very dangerous in case he were to fall or if the water hose swayed unexpectedly. It's a nerve-wracking job, but once you see what he's doing on the plane you'll understand why it's worth it. According to Campbell, every plane is destined to become an aeronautical castle, perfectly suited for living and for retirement. Indeed, like a castle, Campbell supported his enormous Boeing 727 airplane with concrete pillars with his own driveway just outside Hillsboro, Oregon. If someone visits the region, they'll immediately notice the work that was necessary to build it and that the plane couldn't have possibly just landed there miraculously.